When Tom Bower's tapes were released, everything changed. What should have been a routine interview quickly became global news. Harry and Meghan, once seen as the golden royal couple, were exposed in a raw, unfiltered light. Gone were the polished PR statements. What followed were private conversations filled with frustration, anger, and family drama. These weren't your typical royal whispers, they were real, personal confessions. Harry's voice was steady at first but quickly shifted to frustration. Meghan's voice was calm, but it revealed much more than we had ever been shown before. Discussions about how they controlled their image, managed public perception, and even handled their media deals. And just like that, the image of the perfect couple shattered. Buckingham Palace was thrown into chaos, unable to control the narrative. This was a turning point. The world was now hearing the raw truth, and no one could ignore it. The tapes revealed far more than just private grievances. They exposed the true nature of Harry and Meghan's ambitions. Harry, once seen as the vulnerable prince, spoke with sharp frustration about the royal family's stifling protocols and his desire to break free from the constraints of royal life. His tone was colder, filled with contempt for what he perceived as the royal machine holding him back. Meghan, on the other hand, was calm but strategic. Her discussions about controlling their narrative and leveraging their media presence revealed a side of her that was far more calculated than the public had ever realized. What had once seemed like genuine personal struggles were now being reframed as carefully planned maneuvers to maximize influence and visibility. The contrast between these private conversations and the carefully crafted public image was stark. The narrative of the misunderstood couple was quickly replaced with the image of two people actively playing the media game, with every word carefully chosen for maximum impact. The royal fairy tale was no longer believable. What the world had seen as personal trauma now looked more like a branding exercise. One of the most shocking moments in the tapes was the cryptic reference to Harry and Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet. Meghan allegedly discussed how their kids rarely appeared in public, hinting it was a deliberate choice to control the narrative and maintain a sense of mystery around them. Then came the real bombshell, a casual comment about rented kids, a phrase that had long circulated as a wild rumor. For years, skeptics had speculated about the secrecy surrounding the children's birth details and their limited public appearances. But now, this cryptic comment seemed to give life to those rumors. The media frenzy exploded, with experts and fans alike questioning what it meant. Was it a slip of the tongue or an actual attempt to manipulate the public's perception? Critics jumped on the chance to accuse the couple of using their children as pawns in their media strategy, while others were quick to dismiss it as a misunderstanding. What had once been seen as a fringe conspiracy theory was now a global debate. The tapes reignited old rumors and turned them into something much more serious, causing a massive stir in the media and leaving fans and critics scrambling for answers. The fallout from the tapes was immediate and explosive. As the world reacted, Harry and Meghan's carefully managed public image began to crumble. Their inner circle, once united, quickly descended into chaos. Staffers scrambled to figure out how to handle the situation, with some even seeking legal advice, fearing they might get pulled into the mess. For the royal family, this was more than just a PR crisis. It was personal. Reports surfaced that Buckingham Palace, which had been tentatively preparing for a possible reconciliation with Harry, was now firmly closing ranks. The tapes had made any form of reconciliation seem impossible. The raw emotions and grievances exposed in the tapes were more than the palace could manage. Harry, once the beloved family member, now found himself more isolated than ever. His frustration boiled over in the tapes, and the public could feel it. The trust he once had with the royal family seemed irreparably damaged. With every new headline, the gulf between Harry and his family seemed to widen, and the prospects of healing any rift grew slimmer. As the dust from the tapes settled, it became clear the Sussex brand was unraveling fast. What was supposed to be a triumphant new life in America was now looking more like a desperate scramble for relevance. The couple's Netflix deal, once hailed as a groundbreaking success, quickly turned sour. After an initial burst of attention, their documentaries and series failed to capture long-term interest. What seemed like a fresh start in Hollywood began to show cracks, and by 2024, Netflix quietly distanced itself, not renewing their contract. Spotify, too, followed suit. Meghan's podcast Archetypes generated initial buzz, but it quickly fizzled. Criticisms over its pacing, lack of live interviews, and use of pre-recorded clips plagued the show. Even more damaging was the accusation from a Spotify executive calling the couple grifters. The failure of these ventures sent a clear message. Harry and Meghan might draw attention, but they couldn't sustain it. Their attempts to build an empire, a lifestyle brand, charity work, media deals, seemed rushed and poorly planned. With each new failure, their credibility shrank. The Sussexes' ability to maintain the same level of influence was questioned, and their brand became increasingly toxic. The tapes had revealed not just personal grievances but professional miscalculations, making it clear that their future in both business and public life was uncertain at best. Harry and Meghan's royal exit in 2020 was supposed to represent a bold new beginning, a clean break from the constraints of royal life and a chance to build something entirely their own. It was seen by many as the start of a fresh chapter where they could embrace their independence, focus on charitable causes, and create a legacy outside of the royal spotlight. But with the release of the tapes, that dream quickly unraveled. What the tapes revealed was shocking. Harry, who had long spoken of feeling trapped within the royal institution, had been planning his exit for much longer than he had let on. Meghan, far from the innocent outsider, was revealed as a strategic player, actively leveraging the opportunity to reframe their story in the media and turn their departure into a globally marketable brand. It was no longer about escaping the royal family for peace, it was about shaping a narrative that suited their ambitions. In the tapes, we hear both Harry and Meghan discuss their frustrations with royal life, but we also hear a more calculated approach to their departure. The royal family, once their support system, had become part of the problem. The couple wanted freedom, yes, but they also wanted to take control of their own media narrative and use it to elevate their brand. Their story, which had been framed as one of escape and personal trauma, was now exposed as a carefully orchestrated move. Any hope of returning to the royal fold, even in a smaller capacity, was quickly extinguished. The tapes made it clear that the royal family had no interest in bringing them back into the fold. What had once been seen as a potential reconciliation now seemed impossible. The walls that had separated Harry and Meghan from the royal family were only growing taller, and the public was left to watch as they drifted further from the monarchy they once belonged to. In the end, the royal dream that Harry and Meghan had sold the world was shattered. The polished image of the couple seeking a quieter life in America was replaced by the uncomfortable truth that they were no longer just seeking peace, they were building a brand, and that brand no longer aligned with their former royal identity. Their dream was lost, and the tapes made it clear that they were now in uncharted territory, without the protection of the royal family or the positive public perception they had once enjoyed. The aftermath of the tapes didn't just affect Harry and Meghan, it sent shockwaves through the entire celebrity landscape. What was revealed wasn't just personal family drama, it was a glimpse into the mechanics of fame, media manipulation, and public relations in the 21st century. The tapes exposed the lengths to which Harry and Meghan went to control their narrative, showcasing how far public figures are willing to go to maintain their image and influence. For Harry and Meghan, the tapes were a wake-up call to the world that they were no longer the victims of royal press treatment, they were active participants in the media game. Their control over their public image became evident in the tapes as they discussed strategic media moves, from leveraging their children's image to creating a story that would align with their personal and business goals. What had been portrayed as a fight for privacy was, in fact, a strategic maneuver to dominate the media landscape. But this also raised bigger ethical questions about the blurred lines between personal lives and public personas. As the tapes unfolded, the public began to question how much of what we see from celebrities is truly authentic and how much is meticulously crafted for public consumption. The tapes revealed that Harry and Meghan, like many in the celebrity world, had learned to manipulate the media to their advantage, carefully curating their image to ensure they stayed in the spotlight. This shift raised uncomfortable questions for the public. Could a family, who had once claimed they wanted privacy, now be accused of exploiting their own narrative for personal gain? As the world began to dissect the tapes, it became clear that this was more than just about Harry and Meghan. It was a reflection of the changing dynamics of fame and celebrity culture, where personal lives are commodified and the line between reality and performance has become increasingly difficult to draw. The tapes not only exposed the couple but also opened up a broader conversation about celebrity, media manipulation, and the ethics of using personal stories for branding. The global media frenzy that followed only proved that in today's world, there is no longer such a thing as a private life for public figures. Every move is scrutinized, every word dissected, and every personal detail has the potential to become a brand-building asset. And as the public reacted, the tape sparked a larger debate about the true cost of fame and the authenticity behind the glossy facades that celebrities like Harry and Meghan had built. Were they truly victims of the royal machine, or were they simply masters of it, manipulating the media to serve their own ambitions? This was the question that lingered in the air, even as the tapes continued to dominate headlines.